I am having a drink for Random Hero, or Ryan Dunn, as most people will know him as. I was out hanging and watching a couple friends of mine play music. Then I went to a bar and was just as I was home. I didn't necessarily drink too much, but as I was driving home, I was on the highway and felt the I felt how easy it is to drive fast after you've had a couple of drinks. I literally didn't drink more than 3 drinks before driving back, so I'm not necessarily getting fucked up and driving back. But the unfortunate part about Ryan Dunn is it was probably the same thing for him the night that he died. And every time I do that, I think of him, and that's kind of why I'm making this video, as far as what I think is an accurate observation of what might have happened that night, based off my own experiences and knowing Ryan Dunn only through whatever media I've seen him in. The night that he died, he put out a tweet. I believe his last tweet ever was him hanging out with just some of his friends and having some drinks. But, obviously he didn't get too fucked up or, drink too much because he was comfortable getting behind the wheel. And I'm going to get into some more optimistic stuff in just a second, but I just want to point out why I decided to make this. Something tells me that night that he passed away, he was only a couple drinks in and was just tipsy enough to feel extremely confident on the road. And that's what I was feeling on the way back on the, normally I feel the speed of my car a lot going about 5 under what here in South Florida, it's 65 on I-95. So 65, usually I literally drive at the speed limit or a little below because of how fast it just feels naturally. Usually I'm stoned and that little bit of speed goes a long way, or that just the speed limit itself feels like it's a lot for me usually. Now, on the way back home just now, after 2 whiskeys and a beer, I basically was going 70 or 75 and didn't really feel any of it at all. I don't condone drunk driving. I didn't drive drunk home tonight. I don't think I've ever I've without getting myself into trouble. I've gotten lucky a couple of times is all I will say. Never driven blackout. I don't know if I've ever even been blackout. When I've gotten really messed up, I still recall everything that I have an idea of what happened. I've never I don't know if I've ever actually really blacked out despite how fucked up on alcohol I've gotten over the years. But on the way back, I was going, 10, 15 miles over what I usually would drive, and I didn't feel it at all. I didn't feel the speed is what I want to say. Going back to Ryan Dunn, I think that he was such a confident driver and was literally in countless, apparently at least 10 or 12 plus car accidents in his lifetime. Many, many car accidents throughout his life. That he was just confident with speed. He was confident with driving. And that's where, unfortunately, really, you're running a lot of risks there. So what I think happened that night is that he was just so used to driving at crazy fast speeds. And of course in Pennsylvania and in northeastern United States of America, Pennsylvania, it's the state of Pennsylvania, there just that whole area, there's a lot of, unless you're in a city, there's a major city, there are a lot of long stretches of road. So for a lot of people up there, they speed, or people they drive faster because, when you live a half hour away from everything, that's you just want to get home faster. So anyway, I'm sure he was used to that. He was a little just drunk enough to feel confident with his driving and then he just got carried away with it and didn't feel the speed as much as he might have. And the worst part is, if he had not had any drinks, or if he had too much to drink, he would probably still be alive today. But Ryan Dunn, if anything, is an example of why even getting tipsy can be dangerous depending on how you drive and what your habits are and what you're comfortable with. He was just comfortable. The worst part is that I kind of feel like that's like pure, like such a pure rock and roll lifestyle to lead. As a musician and as somebody that kind of in a sick way admires not these things, not the actions themselves, but the attitude behind them, you know, and how he just seemed. Let me get into why I'm very sad why he's gone, because while I'm a diehard Bam Margera fan, if you don't believe me, just 1 second here. I feel like this is exactly why I bought. This is probably why I bought all this stuff. This is all the physical media I have of Bam Margera. I'm a fan. I like Bam Margera and specifically the CKY crew very much. I also own the entire complete, whatever the modern box set is of Jackass, and I own Jackass 3D on Blu-ray. I'm a big fan of this era, and this stuff is a huge, huge part of why I live the way I do, why I have the attitude that I do, and why I am who I am. Because I really, really love what these guys did for my youth and my upbringing. So I'm a diehard fan of Bam Margera. Just a heads up. And we miss Ryan very much. But, okay, why was I getting into this? Why was I bringing that up? As much as I'm a fan of Bam, every time I watch anything from CKY, Viva La Bam, or Jackass, and Ryan Dunn was the only one from the CKY crew with Bam in Jackass. And I think the reason I love Ryan and miss him very much is because from what I saw in the footage and what I've seen as a fan, I'd never even met him, but what I've seen as a fan is that he seemed like a very chill guy and just go with anything. Didn't really, like, the epitome of in a good way, not giving a fuck. And I love that. It seems like anytime and especially anytime I see footage of him and Bam together, it seems like he balanced Bam out so much. Because whereas Bam was like wanting to be the lead, wanting to kind of be in front of the camera, like literally how I relate to Bam more than I think any other celebrity, and I'm glad to see him making a comeback now. But the reason I relate to him so much is I think that he and I are very similar in personalities. The only difference is he is a major success and has a lot of problems with drugs and alcohol. And I'm not necessarily as successful, but I can handle my shit, and I can have a couple that, you know, obviously not having money makes that harder, but to become an addict. But I love to drink. I love to I look at the CKY crew and Bam, and I wish that I had lived like that without actually having to live like that. Because those guys did a bunch of crazy shit, but I never would actually put myself through the pain of that, you know. If anything, I'd be probably Chris Rabb out of all of them, just like shitting on things and doing crazy shit with piss and poop and not getting that hurt that much, you know. The most brutal fucking shit, though, is at the end of CKY 4, I believe. CKY 3 or 4. The worst thing that I've seen Rab, and so I'm going to get back into Ryan Dunn in a minute here, but just a shout out to Rab. Yo, that fucking shopping cart he did into the vending machine with Jimmy Pop from Bloodhound Gang, that is like the most brutal shopping cart spill of any CKY video ever. Like that and Jess Margera hitting the bushes and falling onto the street with the 35 millimeter camera that they shot that with. That is those are like the biggest shopping cart spills that I remember from then. Just like you really feel. So anyway, what I mean is, I could have never pictured myself doing the shit that these guys did from a pain tolerant standpoint and a just being resilient in that way. But back to Ryan Dunn, I guess the reason that I'm really like just deeply sad that he has passed is because it felt like once he died, everything fell apart. You know what I mean? Like any sort of Viva La Bam or CKY reunion was done. Anything with Jackass, you know, even though they're still trying to keep it going, let's all face it, it is not the same. And it'll never be the same single-handedly because of Ryan Dunn's passing. And the fucking crazy part is I look at him and I'm like, he actually was, in the end, the most gnarly one out of them all. The little toy car and the condom up the ass was one thing. Him, you know, jumping into the sewage plant in the TV Jackass TV series. That shit felt so small. That feels so small compared to, he was like this subtle rock star. He was like this subtle, like actual like the actual like gnarliest. I wouldn't say the gnarliest out of the crew. Like Johnny Knoxville definitely holds that as far as pain tolerance and actual being. Like it's like him and Bam are definitely like up there. You know, Steve-O's definitely, like, they've all had their fair share of all of it, right? But like they're such a core, like they're all important to the group. But what I mean is Ryan Dunn, his attitude or the way he lived, when you think about it, the way he lived is actually like hardcore fucking rock and roll. And I doubt Bam or any of the Jackass crew will see this, but just a heads up. I am absolutely saddened by Ryan Dunn's passing, but I think instead of grieving him, I think we should. I think there's something interesting to me. That's all I'm trying to say. It's not a good thing. I'm not like it's horrible the way he passed and just the fact that he passed at all. But I can't help but look at him and feel like he is up there with the 27 Club and up there with any rock star ever, as far as he lived the way that he wanted to live. And as sad as I am about him and all of those people, as sad as I am about that, a very small part of me thinks, I get it. I fucking get it. I am grateful to have a lot of restraint in my personality and I'm very like, I can be extremely uptight and anal about a lot of things, but that's what keeps me very grounded, and that's what prevents me from, like, if I was any other person, I'm pretty sure I would be up there with those people as far as, you have no idea how much I wish I lived like more hard when I was younger, and I wish I lived more throughout my life. But because I've always kind of prioritized just being a creative person and being an artist, I've never really, I've never wanted to risk anything that's going to mess with that. I can't do anything that's going to risk my hands because I absolutely need them for music. I need them for everything that I can never risk. Like just being in a cast and not being able to use my hand, that's like detrimental to what I'm trying to do and what I want to do with my life. But I really wish I went as hard as some of these people, and I hear some stories that other people have, and I'm not gonna lie, it feels like a lot of people that I know have very interesting lives in comparison to mine. But I look at Ryan Dunn, and as sad as I am that he's gone, I'm just like, all I want to do is this. Cheers and fucking rock and roll, man. Fucking rock star. Fucking rock. That is a fucking rock star. Fucking just live the way you want to fucking live. And it feels like he was so casual. Like, when you actually hear of the stories about him, or you hear a lot of these things that people say after he passed, it's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, all of that was not made clear in any CKY video or any Viva La Bam. He was just, like, Ryan Dunn he was always there, and yet he's like the friend in the group that you're just always assuming, well, he's just always going to be there, and then when he's gone, you feel that absence immensely. Because in Viva La Bam and the CKY videos and even Jackass, it's like Ryan has his moments, but he was so like he seemed like such a laid back person. He seemed like I gotta say, I'm talking like I know him. That's how much I've watched this footage. That's how much I have absolutely fucking obsessed over these fucking guys. And again, I say these guys because as much as I love Bam, I don't think that the CKY crew is anything without all of them. I'm sad that, like, they don't still make stuff together. I'm sad that the actual band CKY isn't together. Darren Miller and Chad Ginsburg. Darren, Chad, Jesse, can you guys just fucking... I get it. They got into fistfights. You guys are all drinkers and, bros who are all like filled with anger and and just pissed off at everything and fighting. Like, I get it. You guys are all dickheads. I'm the same way. But like, nobody gives a fuck about anything that you guys are doing because you're not CKY anymore. Darren, you can do your 96 Bitter Beings and whatever other fucking metal bands you got, and like, yeah, that's all fine and all. And Chad and Jesse, you can tell yourselves that CKY is still CKY without Darren, but you're all wrong. You're no different than Oasis being completely meaningless unless they are Oasis, unless the Gallaghers are together. Like, nobody gives a shit. And like, you guys can make music and all, but I've listened to the new CKY like albums, try to listen to them. I think I've listened to like Replaceable and just like certain couples, whatever that album is with the purple background and like the dragon on it. Like, I've listened to some of their modern shit, and it just doesn't sound anything like CKY to me. So what I mean is, yeah, Ryan Dunn passing, and just when groups are irreversibly torn apart and split, and like there's no once people die, I'm somebody that thinks about death every second of my life and obsesses over it way too much. Like, way too much. I obsess over death to the point that I don't even fucking live. I obsess over every little thing that I'm doing being a possibility that I could die. So I never really, like, I barely do anything because I have a deep fear of having an irreversible moment that could either, you know, change my life physically or kill me, you know. And that's why I you know, even though I drove back, literally, like, you know, the thing is, I'm a safe driver. I'm not someone that speeds. I'm not Ryan Dunn. That's why I can drive back tipsy. That's why most people in the world can drive back tipsy, back home, you know. But like, Ryan Dunn didn't like to drive at the speed limit. He didn't like driving slow. He loved speed. He loved speed. He didn't seem like he had much to be afraid of physically or whatever. Like, he had created some sort of, you know, sense of invincibility because of how much he had been through the ringer through Jackass and ZKY. So, you know, he loved speed. He loved, you know, taking a hit and physically, you know, was like kind of numb to being physically damaged. And he drank, and he was just a lot more of a wild personality than you would think. So it makes sense. I'm not saying it's again, I think it's awful that happened, but I get why it happened, is all I'm saying. I understand it. And I think that's exactly what happened, is that he was... I think about that all the time, is all, and I guess that's why I'm making this video. I think about that every single time I think of Ryan. I'm just like, you literally just should have, like, eased up on the gas and maybe not driven back yourself if you wanted to go out and party and shit. He just should have eased up. If he literally eased up on the gas at any moment there, they would probably still, him and his friend would probably still be alive. But yeah, his passing, the Jackass crew is done. The CKY crew is done. Everything changed forever. Thank God that they made Jackass 3 and did kind of a send-off with all their, you know, baby photos at the end. And Jackass 3 felt like it was a, whatever happens to any of us at this point, this is like the final, you know, the finale of this era. And I think that, like, you know, thankfully Ryan Dunn was there for that, at least, because, you know, in a fucked up way, it happened like right after that, you know. But I miss him so much. I really hate that he like Bam literally lost like someone that kept him grounded. I guarantee Bam would have never gone through anything that he went through, and never would have done as much self-destruction as he did, and never would have been as much of an like, everything that we've seen Bam go on this roller coaster of like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on with him? Is he gonna die? Is he all right? Like, and now he's fine. He seems like he's fine, at least. It's a tragic thing that, like, he probably doesn't see his kid that much. He's got a skewed relationship with his family. Look at how much Bam has lost on top of Ryan Dunn's passing. And the one thing that I will say is, like, it's a shame that I guess the worst part of him dying is how much it fucked Bam up. And I'm very curious to see what the other timelines of this world were like where that didn't happen. It's like when John Lennon passed in the Beatles, it just like immediately like made a Beatles reunion it's not possible after that. Once a core person of a group passes away as Ryan Dunn was in the like, this is the CKY crew, literally on the front cover of Viva La Bam. Like, those 5 dudes, I've spent an insane amount of time watching them and rewatching them and rewatching them. I've seen the Iceland incident. I've seen the Iceland lost episode of Viva La Bam countless times. Like, I've seen every CKY video and every episode of Viva La Bam maybe 10 fucking times plus. Every single thing that this crew has ever done. And the reason I'm just kind of disconnected from it is because Ryan Dunn passing ended the entire thing. His pass, because wasn't like the Lennon of this shit. He was just a core part of all of it. And again, the only person that was in Jackass with Bam. What a fucked up thing that now Bam wasn't in Jackass forever, and then they're gonna kind of throw this archive footage of him in Jackass Best and Last. But I'm not gonna go see that shit in theaters. I don't give a fuck about any new Jackass shit because Jackass is done. It's like the same thing how they tried to continue Roseanne without Roseanne, I don't know enough about why she was fired. I know why she was fired, but I don't want to I don't want to give an opinion on any of that because I don't know the situation detailed enough. She definitely seems like somebody that would say some racist shit as a joke and then people would take it seriously, but she also seems like she could actually. That's not important. What I'm saying is when people die, things permanently end. And the sad thing is Bam will never have someone like Ryan Dunn to be the yin to his yang ever again. He'll never have that better half of himself through his male friendships because no one that was his main guy. Not that he wouldn't feel that way with any of these other guys passing, any other CKY crew guys passing, but Ryan Dunn was essentially Bam's second in command when you think of it. It was there's a reason Ryan Dunn comes up first in the introduction of the CKY crew in the Viva La Bam theme song, from what I remember. There's also a reason why he was with him in the Jackass shit, is because they were literally inseparable and attached at the hip. Shout out to that song by CKY. It's one of my favorite songs ever. But yeah, I think that Ryan was a very special person, and obviously we've seen how much that has changed Bam and changed the entire trajectory of whatever this franchise is anymore. And it's the reason why this isn't Jackass, but there's a reason why no one gives a fuck about Jackass anymore, is because it ended with Ryan Dunn's death. And I'm just so disheartened by that. I'm so bothered by the fact that once people die, there's nothing there that you can never. It's the biggest tragedy. That's why everyone should take care of themselves and do what they can and not die. Don't take advantage of having second chances. Ryan Dunn had countless second chances. Every single one of those fucking car accidents that he had should have been, if there was a God, I don't believe in God, but if there was a God, every single one of those would be a sign of hey, take it easy with your driving. Ryan Dunn went through more, apparently from what I've heard from Bam and all of them, he went through more cars and had more car accidents than anybody they'd ever seen. You would think that he would have learned his lesson at that point, but he didn't give a fuck. He loved speed. Not the drug, but the acceleration of a vehicle. He loved it. I get it. That probably, for him, that was probably the same for me as what guitar is. He loved speed and driving fast. He loved it. In a way, him dying that way is oddly poetic. Because he obviously was driving probably faster than not for a reason. Going over 100 miles per hour. He liked to drive like that. And that just happened to be a night where he got carried away. The amount of times that people just get carried away with things. I feel myself getting carried away with things. I've gotten carried away with this video and talked about Ryan Dunn for a very long time. I've talked about this topic for a very long time now. But it's easy to get carried away. It's easy to just kind of go through the motions and not think about the severity of what you're doing, especially when you're drinking. The problem with drinking, and I love drinking. I fucking love drinking. And the reason I've taken it back so much is so I can continue to drink, so that it's not a problem, so that I don't feel like I'm an ugly person when I drink, or I'm a bad person when I have to take back. Me personally, I have to take back, the fun part of drinking for myself. But what I mean is, this shit is so much more significant in how it affects human beings than we think. The scary part about alcohol is that the gray area of when it's casual and when it's not is too blurry. It is too gray of an area. And that's all I'm saying with this is Ryan Dunn was in that gray area, and he was probably a little more tipsy or a little more drunk than he thought. And he was like thinking that he was, he was a drinker. I've heard Steve-O say that they were doing a thing right up until right before he died. They were doing a show together, and he was basically like having to hold something up with Ryan Dunn, and Ryan Dunn couldn't do it without shaking. Throughout all of the BAM stuff, even BAM's World Domination, Ryan literally was at a pub drinking. Anything that you see, Ryan Dunn, Haggard. This movie, it's at the fucking bottom. Hold on, I gotta show this stuff. This movie right here, this is literally Ryan Dunn being an alcoholic and getting fucked up because he is heartbroken. Ryan Dunn, I'm surprised. Why is BAM here? Ryan Dunn is the main character. That's the funniest thing is, I know he did this to sell it, but it's like, you would think that BAM is the main character of this movie when it's actually Ryan Dunn, random hero, instead of these characters, Villavallo and Falcone. And Falcone's cousin, I forget what the fuck his name is. I forget what Rab's character. I think his name is just Rab. I think they call him Rab. But what I mean is, in Haggard, you could see how much he was used to drinking. The crazy part about alcohol is it like you can live so hard with this. Like, you can get fucked up and do some crazy shit and do a bunch of shit, and it's like I was drinking. It's crazy that alcohol will never go away, but there should be like a limit. Like, I don't know if bars should sell people an unlimited supply of alcohol. I don't know. I if there was a way to regulate and limit how much people drink, because the worst part is that you don't feel alcohol. And I'm not trying to turn this into a PSA anti-fucking drinking thing. I'm like so torn because I think that drinking is so embedded into who human beings are, and I think that it's amazing in a lot of ways, and I also think it's really awful in more ways. It's actually way more detrimental and negative than not. But that's why people like to drink, because of the badness of life. I will always say the bad things in life are exciting and fun, and that's why people like them. But drinking it's too easy to get carried away with it. And you don't feel it until it's too late. The amount of times I've gotten fucked up, I didn't feel how fucked up I was as far as when I was very, very drunk. I didn't realize it until it was too late. And that's what's scary about it, is it's not, unless you drink slowly, which a lot of people don't, unless you drink slowly, you will not be able to, you'll end up getting hit like a hammer across the face. You'll get hit with the spins, and you'll just get hit with the disassociative, numb escape of it, Again, Ryan Dunn lived however he wanted to live, and I think that's really, I don't want to say admirable, but he was who he was. I think of him the same way I think of Chris Farley or any of these people that live so intensely. And I think that I hold them in a specific part of my mind, and I look at them in a specific way, is because I was that in another life. I'm grateful that in this lifetime I am not an addict, and I'm not. I don't picture myself ever getting to that point Unless I'm really going through some shit, that's a different story. I don't know what my life is. You know, I don't know what my life has in store, so it's like I have no idea if I'm going to be that. But right now, I don't see myself ever being like the far gone type of addict with drinking or any drugs. Like weed, as much as I love smoking weed, I smoke it every day. I mean, I haven't smoked weed in the last few hours. Like, I'm not necessarily a intense stoner like I might present myself to be. I can be at times, but I'm really not. I don't like doing anything that's taking away from my feeling present. And like what I love about sobriety or being sober is that you just feel so like I don't want. I'm in a place lately personally where I don't want to escape from life, and I don't really want to feel like I'm getting away from things, because I do feel good about where I'm at in life right now, and I feel good about just who I am as a person. And I haven't felt that in a long time. I don't know if I've ever felt that. I didn't feel good as a person as a kid. I just didn't think of who I was as a person when I was younger. So, anyway, I think while Brian Dunn was alive and while they were making all this stuff, it was a very special, seriously special part of my life. And I'm just so grateful to live in the same timeline as these guys, because Bam Margera and the CKY crew and the Jackass crew and just all of it, every bit of it, was so fun and so exciting and so just larger than life. When I think of larger than life, every time I think of like just all the stuff I grew up with. And the reason I hold it so close to me, the reason why I spent a little too much money on all this physical media with Bam and all this shit, is because of how special it is to me, and how it's something that will probably never happen again. The way that it happened. It's happening every day, people being jackasses and whatever, filming bullshit, but the CKY videos and the early Jackass series and the movies and just all of what all of that was irreplaceable. Absolutely, like no way that anybody could ever do that again, because the timing and the attitude that they had and the accessibility that all of these guys had, we will never have that again. We'll never have it again. And I guess that's why we all look at it in that way, why we all hold it in this like, you know, golden era of MTV essentially, and this golden era of pre-YouTube entertainment that we all had. I mean, it was like that and skate videos. Baker 3 was up there too. Like certain skate videos that kind of felt like that same vibe of what Jackass had kind of started and what Big Brother magazine had started. It was a really, really special time for gnarly things like that, and the attitude, fucking like rock and roll. Like, I consider myself a rock musician and a singer-songwriter, and I am highly inspired and influenced by these guys to try to I all I could ever hope for is that I could copy the attitude without actually doing the crazy shit that they did. But these guys literally are why I kind of have the attitude of like, be fucking wild, be kind of unpredictable, and be original more than anything. I think that the one thing that you could say whatever you want about Bam now, back in the day, whatever, Bam Margera is and was the most original fucking person to ever pull any of this shit off with whatever little accessibility and whatever little finances that these guys had. I mean, get the fuck out of here if you don't think that these videos... I don't recommend getting this because this is all the cut. This is all like the copyright free stuff. This collection. This is just an easy way to show all the CKY videos, is what I mean. But if you know this shit like I do, you know that this is like the censored bullshit version of these videos. But I'm so glad to own a copy of it because it's interesting to compare these things. But what I mean is these guys, all of this shit right here, this is never going to happen again, and never going to happen with these exciting personalities and with these people, and with people like Phil here, Phil and Ape, We literally just got to shout out Phil and Ape Margera because none of that would have ever happened if they weren't okay with letting that happen and putting up with it. You can literally see Phil's disgruntled reaction to Bam throwing a plunger in his face in this picture, like just smacking the fuck out of his. Now that looks like that picture might have been planned, but that was obviously, going off of the clip that he got. So yeah. This shit was very lucky for them. Like, they were very lucky that everything fell into place. And I guess I compare my own life to that because I feel that my music career is going to take me far in my lifetime. And I feel that I'm meant to make music and meant to, like, make videos and meant to, like, do this shit. And I don't know when something's going to kick. It might not ever kick. Who cares? But I feel very similar to this era and these guys as far as my life feels like everything has fallen into place too perfectly to not make it happen. And that's all Bam did. And the reason I bring up Bam is because he is actually the only reason that it happened. Bam, I relate to him so much as far as like any videos I made when I was younger, anything that I did with my friends, it was because I was like having that same exact attitude that he had and was just like, we have to like do this, we got to make the. And I know it was like they were all making shit together, but Bam was the fucking ringleader, and he was the one who was driving the fucking, just who was making all of it happen. But these things never happen. The reason why this is special is because there were so many people that probably would have done the same thing if they had parents like Phil and April. If they had, someone who knew how to run the camera like Joe Franz. But every single thing was so perfect at this time. I'm such a fan of this. I fucking purchased Where the Fuck is Santa? Who has even heard of that? Who's even watched that shit? It's pretty forgettable. I don't know if I can name a single moment from it. That's how forgettable it is. But it doesn't matter. I bought it because that's how much of a fan I am of Bam Margera and how much of a fan I am of the CKY crew and how much I love these guys. So much. As far as inspiring me, like I would not be who I am and I would not have the personality that I do, that kind of fuck it, go for it attitude that I have. Just fucking go for it. If it wasn't for them, then I wouldn't be doing anything that I'm doing. I feel so similar to them where it's like like all the Bam shit, all the CKY shit is an example of like if you make a bunch of stuff, some of it is going to be extremely gold. I'm not saying that I'm the same way. I'm just saying like I look at a lot of the stuff I've done as impulsive, and I should start talking about Ryan Dunn again in a second, but it's hard to talk about him without talking about the all-encompassing part. It was all of them. It was all, but he was literally like the fucking, like such a huge part of the core of it, right? But where I relate to them is like, it's extremely important to be impulsive with your art and with your work. And Bam and all of them were very impulsive and very just in the moment with what they were doing. So to go back to Ryan Dunn, I can't tell you how much I am like heartbroken that he's not with us anymore. And I'm so heartbroken that his death had such a big impact on Bam, and the fact that the CKY crew is basically done and all of that is just forever like gone for eternity. Like I don't think any of it is ever going to feel, none of it is ever going to feel the way it felt like it did at the time. And that alone is, I guess, why I'm holding onto it and why I'm buying all this physical media and wanting to keep a part of that alive within my heart, because I don't think that it's ever going to happen again. And I don't think I'm ever going to feel that excitement that I felt when I was watching these guys. And I don't know if anybody ever is going to give me that excitement. I feel that with certain bands, and yeah, like I love music, but as far as any piece of media or any entertainment or anything that that has had a big impact on my life and made me who I am, Bam and the CKY crew were the most impactful of all. If you knew me when I was a kid, you knew I was hyperly obsessed with this guy. Hyper fucking obsessed. I think that if I met Bam and if I got together with any of these guys in the CKY crew, the Jackass crew, that I'd be able to fucking whip him, not whip, fucking like kick their asses a little bit from a standpoint of like, yo, you guys have to get, and they're all old now, so of course they can't do anything they were doing before. But what I mean is like, if they ever wanted to pass the torch, or if they ever wanted to try to continue that shit, I guarantee that I would be able to ignite something in that group with my fiery personality, or my like just giving a shit about like the footage that they were getting. Because I think all the footage of all the Jackass videos and all this footage is just so timeless and so like amazing. There's nothing like watching Rab himself shit himself while running at full speed in CKY3. There's nothing like that. And again, of course I understand that they would never do it again. I look at Rake Yan and he's literally like gray and looking like a fucking like senior citizen at this point. So I'm not like expecting that to ever happen again with where they're at in their lives and where their priorities are at. Like, I get that. I fucking get it. But if they don't pass the torch, then that really is it forever. It's gone permanently. If they don't pass the torch or create some sort of, these are the next people that are going to be doing, you know, some crazy shit. Now I don't expect anybody to like willingly go out of their way to get hurt like these guys did. I don't mean pass the torch as far as more Jackass, more CKY videos, but where is the attitude of this going to go? Where is the rock and roll in the world? Where's the danger, the fun, healthy danger? I don't know if there's any healthy danger, but you know what I mean? Like the danger that's just like, it's supposed to be fun and supposed to be kind of whatever, rough around the edges. The sad thing is I don't know if you can have that like dangerous, rough around the edges attitude in life and not have it be detrimental in the end. I guess this whole era and Ryan Dunn and all the Jackass crew and Bam and all this shit is, it reminds me that danger is, or having a dangerous kind of crazy rock star lifestyle has a time limit and it has an expiration date. I really am not trying to word that. That's such a poor wording for what I'm talking about. I don't mean to say that Ryan Dunn was the expiration date. I'm saying that like, even if he didn't die, they would just be older and it still wouldn't feel the same. You know what I mean? Let's say like Ryan Dunn never died. They would all still be old bitches. They'd all be a bunch of old fucks, you know, and it wouldn't matter anyway. Like it, you know, as far as like, it would still be over, obviously. But will we ever have, you know, young people have replaced getting hurt and laughing at that with hurting others, not physically, but psychologically and sometimes physically still. Yes. Like young people don't have any recklessness, I don't think. Or the recklessness that they have is through the digital world. It's like there isn't any physical recklessness. There isn't any like, you know, that anymore. That hurt a little bit. That didn't hurt that much though. I can slap the fuck out of my face and not, I've had a couple drinks, so it doesn't hurt that much, but like that sounded a lot worse than it actually was. Like that didn't really hurt that much. Not as much as like Steve-O getting a fucking hook put through his cheek. You know what I mean? Like that's nothing. What I just did, it actually left a fucking mark too, you know? But I'm so like, I rarely feel pain anymore. Like I used to skateboard when I was a kid and I used to like do a bunch of shit and like, I rarely have spills anymore. I'm not like wanting to feel pain, but sometimes a little pain is like, it's okay. It's okay. A little pain is okay. And I think that's what a lot of this shit was, you know? I'm like looking at all the physical, you guys can't see it, but I'm looking at all of this pile of physical media right here. And I'm just like looking at it. It's like all this shit was like, look at Ryan Dunn on that cover. He got seriously fucking hurt and fucked up his back. He like was like just absolutely like his spine like totally took a hit there. But he recovered. He was fine. Like not fine, but he was like, you know, it didn't, that's not what killed him, is what I'm saying, you know? So it's like where is the danger in life anymore? Like the fun, healthy danger that allows men like myself, what allows men to get their fucking anger out. Where are we getting our fucking aggression and our testosterone out through outside of working out? Men don't have, like, I feel like men are kind of meant to be fucking beaten up a little bit. Men's bodies, I feel like we can handle pain so well. You know what I mean? Not that we should. Not that people should go fucking kicking each other's asses or hurting each other. But, like, when we hurt ourselves and we can laugh at it and everyone else can laugh at it, there's so much fun in that. And that's what the Jackass crew was. That's what all of that was. It was a bunch of guys hurting the fuck out of themselves and laughing about it. Being men and taking the hit. Taking it. And not being little fucking bitches about it. Do you have any idea how much that inspired me? Do you have any idea what it was like being a little fucking pussy that I was as a little child? Like being so afraid of pain and then seeing these guys do what they were doing and seeing how fucking like gnarly people could be? That made me like, that like woke up something in me at the time as far as like, oh my God, like that made me realize like the pain as a young person, that made me realize the pain I was going through was nothing compared to these guys. And that was a good thing. There was something positive about that. Seeing people take it like a man. Take some fucking pain like a man. Do you think any Gen Zers are going to be able to do that? I don't know. I don't fucking know. Some of them are, there's still a lot of people that are into skateboarding, still a lot of people that are into those aggressive, extreme kind of sports. But are there still people willing to hurt themselves for footage? Yes and no. Like, there are a lot of people online doing that. However, it feels like it's just when people are actually fighting and actually hurting each other, not like a planned, I'm going to hurt myself. Where's the planned, hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville, welcome to Jackass? Where is that going to go is what I'm fascinated by. Because honestly, outside of like MMA fighting or just certain things like that, where of course, like young men are still getting hurt, but where's the rambunctious like camaraderie of recklessness anymore? Where is the recklessness amongst men? I don't see it. I don't feel it. And I guess like a part of me wants that right before I get too old to like really handle. Like I'm 33, like I can still kind of handle that right now, but I guess I'm wanting more of that intense testosterone-ridden fucking aggression that is the recklessness of how those guys lived. And going back to Ryan Dunn, honestly, like he was not afraid of that. Honestly, it feels like they were all aware of like what they were doing, like kind of like, uneasy about it. And Ryan was like, I don't think I ever saw Ryan besides the Riot control test in Jackass number 2. Outside of that, where Ryan Dunn was like, fuck that. Outside of that, I can't think of anything where Ryan wasn't like going into it and just kind of like sucking it up and dealing with it. He was such a man. He was such a fucking, like, in a lot of ways, just like any of the other guys from Jackass, Bam included, as extra as Bam can be when he gets hurt. He's just, he's a little dramatic about it. Again, I relate to that because I would be doing the same thing, most likely. But all of the Jackass crew were such like fucking men, such like they can take a fucking hit. And I don't think we're ever going to get that again. Ryan Dunn, I miss you so much. Fucking random hero. God damn it. I miss you so fucking much because you have no idea how much you and everybody else in that crew, both Jackass and CKY, you have no fucking idea how much I miss you, Ryan. Even though I never even met you, even though I only saw this footage as an audience member, nothing more. I miss all of you being here and the Jackass crew being whole and the CKY crew being whole. And, I miss seeing Bam pre-Ryan Dunn's passing. Because, like I said earlier, I think that single-handedly changed his life forever. And that is the only reason why he's been a mess for the last 10 to 15 years almost. I love all of it. I love all of these guys so much. Cheers to them. Cheers to men being men. Just a heads up, if you're a guy watching this, it's okay to be a man. It's okay to take pain. It's okay to be a little stoic and not feed into every emotion that you fucking have. Like, we need to be men. We need to be a fucking, like, every once in a while, like a lot of the time, it's okay to be a rock and just be like firm in what you believe and what you think. And don't let the world take away your masculinity. Don't let anybody ever take away your right to be a fucking man. That's all I have to say. Ryan was a fucking man. He died a man. He was a fucking rock star. I love him and miss him very much.